Good morning, Rabbi Isai. How's everybody doing? All right. Today's shir is being sponsored, a very pleasant surprise, by my stepbrother. I had the chutzpah to not call him when he had a baby a couple of days ago. I heard about it. Sponsored by Ari and Adi Kirshner. So I don't know if it's like a shtach, I hope not. It's like, but he's telling me, I'm still watching the shir, Eli, that's what he's saying. In honor of the birth of our daughter, Rivka Alexandra. So Mazel Tov, Ari. You should see a lot of nachas from her and all your children. Today's shir is sponsored by Naftali Rishol for his mother's yahrzeit. Gimel of Devar Liba Bas Mordechai Mendel. The neshama should have an aliyah. We love having you, Rabbi Naftali. Shkoyach. It's great to see you on the screen. It was even better in person. So, a bunch of emails here. We're not going to read all of them, don't worry. This is very touching to me. I just want to go through real quickly, just in the last few days, the last 2-3 days. David Address sent me a song that he composed, wrote the music to, and put a video to that will show after the 9 days about the shir. It's about the Yomi, it's about the Yomi. It's very catchy. Very moving that a person will go through all that work and resources and everything. Leon Welcher, not only does he do the app and he's involved with the app every single day, he put together this whole collage from the shir, from the end of brachas through Shabbos, a whole thing. We'll show that during the Siyum Be'ezer Hashem. Also, very touching. 2 nights ago, knock on the door, a box of $500 worth of Svarim from Yossi Klein from Muncie. So it's these things. Today, I get this email. Listen to this. Moshe Hirsch. He's on Zoom every day. He's the guy that holds his baby, has that nice blonde beard, holds his kid all the time. First of all, thank you for everything. All the effort into the shir, explaining it so clearly, making excellent charts. A couple of days ago, Yeshua posted things about the shir and wrote that everyone should post it on their status. So I decided, why not? Right away, I got a response from my brother. I tried to get him to join, but so far it didn't work yet. And then unexpectedly, someone else I know asked me about it. After some back and forth, he told me to remind him about it when we finish Shabbos. That's the Yetzer Hara, obviously, you know. This got me thinking of an idea. Listen to this. Oh, here's Ramesh, I see him. We don't recognize you without your child. You have to pick up your child. If anyone, and in parentheses, besides Yeshua, because he's the ultimate missionary, he calls himself, gets someone to join the shir, I will sponsor 1 day of the shir. In other words, he's paying $100 to anybody who could get anyone else. So if Naftali Rishel gets someone to come join the shir, Moshe will sponsor $100 to the shir. This is up to 5 people, 1 per person. So he wants to put out $500 so that you guys could bring 5 people to the shir. That's his idea. Just people want to do for the shir. It's unbelievable. I don't have the money, and it might take 5 months. Blah, blah, blah. Listen to this. It's unbelievable. If anyone gets someone to come, contact the Daf team, and they'll contact me. Thank you, Moshe Hirsch. To the Daf team, thank you for everything. If this is not okay, please tell me. So Yishkoyach Moshe Hirsch for thinking and doing. Take him up on it, Rabbi Isai. Make him pay. Make him pay. Dear Rebelli, my name is Micha Holzer. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. I listen to the 8-minute daf on my way to work. It is Mekadesh my drive my whole day. And my whole day. The clarity and the presentation helped the holy words penetrate into my neshama. I agree with all sentiments of the emails that you read during the daf. I'd like to join your team on Shabbos. I've never gone this far in the daf, and the daf helped me stay positive and kept my family and I going through this whole current kufa, which started around Daf Ches and Shabbos. Again, I have never gotten this far in the daf, and the daf helped me stay positive. He's speaking for a lot of people here, and kept my family and I going through this whole current kufa, which started around Daf Ches and Shabbos, continued being lahagdil Torah lahadira. I hope he means that he wants to host in Cincinnati, because we need Cincinnati. It would be great to have Cincinnati, Ohio. All right, the rest will have to be a different day. Yes.
Official is matching Moshe Hirsch's offer, so that's 10 people now.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's great to offer money. The trick is getting these people to pay. You have to have a Yitzhahar and a Taiva to get Fishel to shell that cash. Get Moshe Hirsch, who Nebuch, it's going to take him a while to pay up, make him suffer. That's what's Geshmak here. All right, listen to this. Oh, so we only have 2 or 3, depending on Cincinnati, 2 more updates. Joey Saznik from San Francisco. Here's an interesting one. Yochanan at Kever Rachel. He wants to do the Siyum at Kever Rachel. So if he's doing the Siyum at Kever Rachel, we need somebody at the Kaisel, and that will be unbelievable. Okay. Today, I can't believe I'm going to be saying this. Today is Daf Kuf Mem 140. David Feinberg reminded me yesterday, it was I forgot about it again. We accomplished 200 daf together from the beginning of brachas. 200. It's not a small number. Today's Daf Kuf Mem. Says the Gemara, we're holding the last words on Daf Kuf Lamed Tes on the base. V'noisnim beitz of Sanenetz, you could put an egg right through a strainer. Tony Reb Yaakov, Karcha. I hope it doesn't mean the bald Reb Yaakov. I didn't notice it, like as a Yaakov Karcha, but that usually means the bald one. So you're in good company. Yeah. Why is this okay? How can you do Bayer on Shabbos? And Yisrael was asking me yesterday, Yisrael Goldstein from Borough Park. So the Gemara says it's legavan, it's for coloration purposes. What's the pshat? The pshat is, Rashi says, it's oichel and oichel. Over here, Rashi says that the yolk, the yellow, goes into the mustard. You want it to be nice and yellow. Oh, mustard. Here, I have some mustard if you want to see. This is what mustard seeds look like. So I want it to be yellow, like a yolk. Could you do that on Shabbos? Yes, because there's no tzoiveya when it comes to food. So it's just interesting that over here Rashi says that the white remains in the sifter, the yolk goes down. When we learned the sugya earlier, Rashi says they both eventually go down. It's oichel ba'oichel. What's the pshat over here? We learned oichel is also a problem. To take a sack from a sack in a pile of sacks, you can't do that. But when it comes to, we're not eating it. This is for dyeing purposes. So in dyeing, there's no bayer really. Okay, I believe that the Mishnah Berurah and the Bir Halacha brings down that over here it's considered two psoilosim because it ruins. It's not something you eat. It's psoilim. Fine. Says the Gemara, top line in the Kufmem. Itmar. 1 second. What happened to my thing? Never good. Okay, nicht gut. You're gonna have to remind me now. There's gonna be a lot of. I just had it. Did it fall? Hold on. Sorry. You're gonna have to point the whole time. Tanya. No, yeah. No, wrong daf. You see, I'm already lost. Itmar. Chadul Shaloshim Erev Shabbos. Now we're going to be talking about Lisha. The sugi of Lisha. Kneading tuna fish, egg salad, kneading something. So, you started the process on Friday. L'machar, on Shabbos, Amar Rabbi Machi b'kli avaloi biyad. You can use a nice fork, mush it up, but not with your hand. Amalei Shmuel, what is going on? Biyad, with your hand. So now, Rashi explains that with your hand it's a lot better. You get it, you get into it, you mix it up real good. But Shmuel is wondering what? People use their hands and then they serve the food with their hands. It might be a little better, the mix, but that's not a proper way to eat. You know, I was just thinking about this, the famous Maisa. There was a piece of kugel left over in the shul, and everybody wanted the kugel. Famous Maisa, but we got to say it. I haven't said it in a long time. So there was a fight. Who's going to get the kugel? So this is in a Yakisha place, a bunch of German Yakis. So they decide, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the lights, and whoever gets the kugel gets the kugel. So they 1, 2, 3, they turn off the lights, and all of a sudden you hear a scream, ah! They turn on the lights, they see a chassid going for the kugel, and like 35 forks right in his hand. Say, Even in those days, they used forks. They were proper. It's okay. Elo Amar Shmuel. I'm sorry, Yisrael. I had to say it. Elo Amar Shmuel. Memachu b'yad v'memachu b'kli. So no, it's the reverse. You could use your hands on Shabbos. That's the shinui, but you cannot use a fork. Now, Rabbi Yisai, I'm telling you right now, Yisrael is still smiling. Your head will probably spin from this Gemara. It's back and forth and back, and it's not complicated. The halach is like, the halach is like, Itmar Rebbe Lozo Amar, echad zeh ve'echad zeh aser. You're not allowed to do it with your hand. You're not allowed to mix up the mustard with a kli. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, echad zeh ve'echad zeh mutar. Rabbi Yochanan initially says, it's great. You could do it with a kli, you could do it with your hands. Rebbe Lozo says you can't do anything. Abaye v'Rava da'amrit harvayu ein halach Rabbi Yochanan. Abaye and Rava hear this psak from Rabbi Yochanan that you could use your hand, you could use a fork. No, you can't use either. Cham Rabbi Yochanan b'shitza de Rabbi Lezer or Lazar. Rabbi Yochanan one day retracted everything. He goes back to Rabbi Lazar. He says, "You're not allowed to." Cham Rabbi Lazar. Then the next day, Rabbi Lazar got up. He retracts his shita. B'shitza de Shmuel. He says, "With your hand, you're allowed to, not with a fork." Abaye v'Rava damar tarvayu. Come Abaye v'Rava. Are you confused already? They come, they both say, Halach Rabbi Yochanan. Now, the new Rabbi Yochanan, we like the new and improved version 2 of Rabbi Yochanan, that it's mutter. Fine. Even the Abaye, Avdalei v'lo yochal. Abaye's mother, the famous stepmother, she made him, she tried to mix it up on, now there's a process again. You pour in the water, Erev Shabbos, you mix it, but you want to make it nice and smooth on Shabbos. He wouldn't eat from it. The Visu, the Zeiro, the wife of Zeiro, Avdalei l'Rav Chia bar Ashi v'lo yochal. Now, here's the question worth only 5,000 points, because everybody should know this. Why is the wife of Zeiro making food for Rav Chia bar Ashi? Oh, Noam knows the answer. Because in Daf Kuf Tes we learned that the Rav Nisim Gaon on the side says that they were actually married. She's just called the wife of Zeiro because she's famous for being the Gal Adar's wife, but she eventually married Rav Chia the Talmud. And she said the same thing on Daf Kuf Tes. In a different thing. I made your Rebbe food, what's going on with you? It's good enough for your Rebbe, why is it not good enough for you? You're firmer than him. Bringing up the old husband. Classic. Omar Rava bar Shava, Hava koimno kamei de Ravina, ubachashilei b'shufsa de tuma. I was there standing in front of Ravina, and he was boichesh. He mixed the whole thing with the stalk of garlic. I understand that in Israel, they used to sell garlic with the stalk, even Erev Pesach Adayim Hazeh, they sell it with the stalk. V'achal. Omar Zutra, lei silchas kechol anishmaitzo. Ignore everything that you heard until now. Elo keha. This is the way it is. The itmar chardol shalashim erev Shabbos. If you start the process of mustard before Shabbos, l'mochar memachui ben biyah ben bikli. In other words, like Rabbi Yochanan's original shita. Not that you never heard of this shita, but we're going back to that original one. V'noisen l'toich dvash, and you can put in honey, v'lo yitroif, and don't beat it really hard. Elo ma'arev, do it nice and calmly. Fine. Next, shachalayim, cress. Sheshachak Erev Shabbos. You started the process on Erev Shabbos. We're just going to give 2 more examples, the same idea. It's mustard, it's cress. You put in oil, v'choimetz, and vinegar. Umamshich letoichon amisa, and you put in, eventually, as the Gemara is going to explain, it means mint. V'lo yitroiv, don't mix it, don't beat it. Ela ma'arev, mix it lightly. Same halach again. Shum shuriskoi. Garlic that you crushed, Merev Shabbos, pull, ugrisin. The next day you put beans or split beans. Don't pound it. Elama arev. You just mix it. Now, just halacha l'maisa. What is it again for us today? So, the Achrayim say that if you want to make tuna or egg salad on Shabbos, the way to do it is you have to make shinuyim. So you make 2 shinui. You put the mayonnaise in the kli first, then you put the tuna on top of it. And then instead of mixing it like you do during the weekday, you do shasi ve'erev. You make like X's in the tuna and in the egg salad. That's what they say. Again, ask your local rabbi. Nobody should rely on any psukim that I say. Umamshich es amisa l'toichon. My amisa, what's this amisa? Ninya. Like they say in Hebrew, nana, mint. Omar Abai Shmamino, hi ninya. I believe Rashi, what was the lashon he says? Minta. Yeah. Omar Abai Shmamino, hi ninya ma'al yilitachale. So you see from the fact that you're mixing mint into the cress, you see that it does good for the cress. Voisin anumelin b'Shabbos. There's a certain wine drink that they made on Shabbos. So the Gemara explains what this is. Torah Rabbanan. Oisin anumelin b'Shabbos ben oisin aluntis. You make the anumelin, but not aluntis. Why? Aluntis is more of a refuah. People drink it only for health reasons. Anumelin could go both ways, and a lot of people drink it regularly, and therefore it's mutter on Shabbos. Beizan anumelin, what does it mean? Beizan aluntis. Anumelin, here's the ingredients: yayin, wine, udvash, honey, upilpul, and pepper. Aluntis, yayin yashan, aged wine, umayim slulin, nice clear water, vafarsamoin, and afarsamoin, balsam. The avdile lebei masusa lemekar, they do it for the bathhouse to cool people off. You go into that schwitz, you feel like you're fainting, you get cooled off. Omer Rav Yosef, zim nechado, Rav Yosef says a ma'isa. Alis basar mar ukva lebeibane, I once followed mar ukva to the bathhouse. Kinafki asoi, we came out, ashkin chamrog chat kosa, he gave me 1 cup of wine. Not wine, it means this alunta stuff. V'chashim mebinosa deroishi, I felt it from my head, v'ad tufro dechari, until from my head to my toes, basically. What did I write here? I can't even read my own writing. Fine. Yeah, so it had this cooling effect on him, and he felt it from head to toe. V'ashkin kosa achrino, and if I would have drank 1 more cup, have a mistafino, I would be very scared. Dilma menakli mischuso de alma de asi. So when I first read this, I thought it meant that he would have such hana, he would feel so good about it that it would remove his, he would lose Olam Haba from having so much hana in Olam Hazeh. But that's not what Rashi says. Rashi says he would be so close to death that he would survive only because of the schusim that he had, and that would take away from his Olam Haba. However, the Marshal asks, how did Rabbi Yosef know that? He didn't drink the other cup, so how did he know that his neshama would almost fly away and that he would be saved in the last second? He never drank it, and he never came to that point that he would know. And therefore he brings the Taisim Shantz that does say the pshat that I thought it was. I'm just saying it because I like that pshat. It felt good to me. Like if you have too much hana, ba'olam hazeh, menakim le'mischiyos, so there's a Taisis to rely on it. By the way, I see Reb Aram Mosbacher on my screen. I want to say Shalom Aleichem. I've never seen you live. Mazel tov on your siyum and brachas. Beautiful. You should go Michal. I'm happy. I'm proud of you. You said you want to start Erevim, but no, you're doing Shabbos. Beautiful, beautiful. V'ar ma'arukva, the shasi kol yoma. So this fits in even better with Rashi than the Taisim Shantz. You're telling me that it's so dangerous to drink a second cup, but look, Mar Ukva used to drink it. Mar Ukva, the one he followed to the bathhouse, he drank a lot of this stuff, didn't do anything to him. Or, you could say Taisim Shantz, he drank so much of it, he had such hana ba'olam hazeh, what? He was so if you're worried about menakim eschuyos, why is Mar Ukva not? Shani Mar Ukva the doshbei. He was so used to it, so it had no effect on him. It wouldn't harm his body physically, it wouldn't take away from his olam haba spiritually, because it was nothing for him, he was used to it. Says the Mishnah in Shoyer Nesa, Chiltis bepoishrim. Chiltis is, I don't know how to pronounce it. Saftida, something like that. I'm sure you guys know how to pronounce it better. Here it is. This stuff. Does it make a difference? No. It's some sort of, I don't know. Anyways, a saftida. Bepoishrim. Why? This is more of a healing thing. This is a refuah. People drink it for refuah. So you can't, so we have to remember this word. You're not allowed to soak it in, poishrim, warm, lukewarm water. What about cold water? Seems like it's okay. You cannot put it into vinegar I'm sorry, you could put it in vinegar. Why? Because then it becomes food. It's for food purposes, not for refuah. Ve'ein shoylin es a karshinim. Okay, karshinim are vetch. It's very uncomfortable. My finger is stuck to my Gemara. But it's okay. Vetch is a type of a bean. Now what you want to do is you want to put water there so all the garbage floats to the top. And that's boirer. You can't take the vetch and go like this with your fingers, between your fingers, and rub it and get the peel to peel off. You could put it into a sieve or into a basket. And what happens, happens. What happens in the basket stays in the basket. In other words, we don't care about it. There's no we go like Reb Shimon, the Davar Shein Miskaven is mutter. I'm not going like this with the sieve. I put in the basket. Some stuff falls on the bottom. It's not the end of the world. It's not a psik reisha. It's nothing. Ein koivrin is hatev mikvar. You can't put straw into a sieve to sift it. And don't put it in a high place. You put it like between shelves, but the bottom is exposed, and eventually stuff is going to start. The straw is going to separate from the shaft, and that's okay. Sorry. That's not okay. You could put it inside. I have a picture here. Somewhere. So now I just lost my place. There's a picture of a guy here. Here's one picture. You put it inside the kvara. Here's a better picture. You put it in the sifter, and you go, and you move, you give it to the animal, and then by that, it's going to sift itself, naturally. But if it happens, it happens. Iboilahu. Shara mai. You take this, a saftira, or whatever it's called, and you do soak it like the Mishnah told you not to. What are you chayiv? You chayiv a chatos, or you're over in the Rabbanon? Tirgumar of Adon nor Shah, Kameh, the Rav Yosef. Shara, if you soak it, chayiv chatos, you are chayiv a da'iraisa. Amalei abaya, elama'ato, shara umtzevemayo. Now, we had, if you remember, 2 daf ago maybe, on Kuf Lamed Zayin Amud Beis, the last line on the bottom, Abai says a very, very similar thing in the same kind of logic. Elama'ato, shara umtzevemayo. Over there, I'll remind you, he said, and if you hang up a washing cup on a hook, are you over on the oil? He went to the extreme. Over here also, he's going to the extreme. If you take a piece of meat and you soak it, a raw piece of meat, you soak it in water. You're chayiv for soaking. So if you soak these beans also, you're not going to be chayiv. So what's the problem with the Rabbanon? It's the Rabbanon that you shouldn't do uvdin the chayil. You shouldn't do something weekday-ish. We were learning the pshat is not so much weekday like going to an elevator, but something that would lead you to Issa D'Oraisa. Rabbi Yochanan asks his Rebbe, Rabbi Yanai, what about having this chiltis soak in, what's chiltis? Asaftida, in cold water. Now, if you look at the Mishnah says, chiltis bepoishim. You're not allowed to soak it in warm water. And we were medayik right away, but in cold water, it's okay. Omar lei, asur. So Rabbi Yanai, the Rebbe, says it's asur. Oh, he knew he's going to say asur, so he whips out the Mishnah. It says, with warm water. Why are you telling me cold water is asur? So he tells an amazing thing. Omar lei, imkain ma bein li v'lach. Then what is the difference between me and you? I'm your Rebbe. What do you think? I didn't anticipate this Mishnah. I don't know the Mishnah. Shalom Aleichem. Masnisi chidai. The Mishnah is going according one individual. The Sanya in Choyden Zachid is lo b'cham lo b'tzoynen. Rabbi Yossi Omer b'cham also b'tzoynen mutter. It says mafurish. Do not soak the chiltis in cold water. That's the rabbim. That's the majority opinion. Rabbi Yossi, single person, chamin also b'tzoynen mutter. In cold water it's mutter. Says the Gemara l'mayavdilei liyukra delibo. If a person has heartache, so he has a chest pain, use this stuff. tell you a real quick story because everybody thinks, real estate is all fun and games. You just buy a couple apartments and you sit back and you relax. So in 2008, 2009, as you remember, the whole world came to a screeching halt. The whole economy fell and everybody was suffering a lot. One day, I get in the mail that my 2,000 apartments that I bought in 2005, the real estate taxes went up. But they didn't go up 10%, 20%, 30%, 100%. So if they were $1 million a year, it was $2 million. And it started a whole process where I started fighting with the city. You have the chutzpah, they sent somebody, it turned out to be a big scam. But during that kufa, I would wake up in the middle of the night, literally with heart palpitations. I thought I'm losing my property. It was terrible. I would wake up, I felt chest pain, so I ran to a heart specialist. I'm saying this lechizuk for other people because people told me about this. I go to the heart specialist, I tell him what happened, and he starts laughing. He checks my heart, and he's laughing. And he tells me, listen, I moved offices. I used to be here in this building, I moved here. And when I did so, I had this exact same thing as you. I would wake up in the middle of the night, I would feel my heart pumping, I felt chest in my pain. He says, it's all in here. It's all in your head. You're 100% healthy. Your heart is perfect. I went home. I never had chest pain in my life, Baruch Hashem, from that, just from those words. It was all in my head. Your head can create this pain. I'm not suggesting that this Gemara is saying that it's a placebo or something, but maybe, who knows? If you have this chest pain, you drink this cup, bye chest pain. Rav Acher bar Yosef, chosh biyukr delibo. Rav Acher bar Yosef had chest pains. So he went to Marukva. Amalei, Zil Shesei, Tlosa Tiklei Chaltiso, Tlosa Yoime. Go drink this 3 days in a row. Three amounts of money, whatever, a certain weight, shkalim, 3 days. Ozal, he started the dose right away. It happened to be a Thursday. Ozal, Ishti Chamsha b'Shabbos, Thursday, Umal Shabbos on Friday. Let's say for Ozal Shal b'Midrasha, what do I do now with my third dose? It's on Shabbos. Are you allowed to take medicine on Shabbos? Omrulei, Tona Bei Rav Ado, Varmelo Tona Bei Mar Bar Rav Ado, Shoy Sodom Kav Oikobayim Veinu Choishesh. You could drink as much as you want of this on Shabbos. So some people make a mistake based on this Gemara and they say, if you start antibiotics before Shabbos and you're 3 days, it's like going on a boat. So if you're 3 days before Shabbos, then you can continue doing it, So says the Gemara, that's not true. I had a problem. Could you drink it or not? Could I soak it? I had a story mamish with myself. They didn't know the answer. You could soak it in cold water. So you could soak it in cold water, but the problem is cold water doesn't do anything. I need to warm it up a little bit. So I put it in the sun. Kiman the Shari? What? Like Rabbi Yossi, who the halach is not like him? No, because we just said the halach is not like him. Rabbi Yossi is a yachid, right? We said, I'm the Rebbe. Rabbi Yanai knows the halacha. It's aser. Who the person that said it's Rabbi Yossi is a das yachid. What? So she's telling me that you're allowed to put it in cold water like a das yachid? The person that says it's also when you never drank before. He started the dosage on Thursday and Friday. It's very dangerous to stop the dosage. So if you're taking antibiotics or whatever medicine it is, and if you stop taking it, it becomes dangerous to your body, then you can continue. But if you're taking something that's not dangerous to stop, then there's no heter from this, based on this Gemara to continue on Shabbos. So Rav Acher bar Yosef was on the shoulders of the very famous Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, his nephew. Amalei, Rav Safra Ailino. When we passed by Rav Safra's house, please let me go in there. He brought him in there. So he asked Rav Safra, could I rub? The way it worked then, stuff came out of the laundry. If you live in Eretz Yisrael, you put your laundry on the porch to dry, you get back a board. it becomes stiff like a board. So you had to, like the linen, you had to rub it out to make it softer. Are you allowed to do that on Shabbos? Is he trying to soften it up? Perhaps he's trying to whiten it out. He's trying to soften it out. It's 100% mutter. My boy Yitzchak asked him, "No, what did you ask the rabbi?" And he said it's okay. So why don't you ask him about a sudar you put over your head, something more relevant? Sudar like him barley. The boy Rav Huna, I already asked somebody else called Rav Huna, and he told me it's asur. That's how most Rishonim learn. So if you knew that a sudar is asur, so then you should have made the equation to a shirt. Amalei hasam mechzeki yolude chivara hacha le mechzi yolude chivara. Over there, it looks like you could see that the white is much better on the kerchief, on the suda that you put around your head, and therefore it looks more like that's what you're trying to do, and that's why it's asur. Omar Rav Chizda, haikitinasa. This shirt. So the way it worked, instead of having a hanger, they had a piece of wood that went from side to side on the shirt, but this piece of wood was not designated to hold. We're talking daf kuf mem amid beis on the top. Mishlefu lidido mikanya shari. If you want to remove the shirt, now the stick, which is muktzah. Why is it muktzah? It's muktzah machas gufa, a very strong muktzah, has zero purpose. It's not a real hanger. It's a piece of twig you found in your backyard. So it's muktzah machas gufa. Now, if you're going to move that muktzah machas gufa as you're removing the shirt, that's okay. Kanya mimena asur. But to remove the stick, which is muktzah machas gufa, out of the shirt is asur. Amarava v'imkli kivayu. But if it's a weaver's stick, in other words, it's a professional stick that somebody has in his shop. So that's real muktzah. That's a klisha malachta l'isser. Oh, klisha malachta l'isser is different than muktzah machas gufay. A stick, a stone, a piece of dirt is inherently muktzah. You can't move it l'tzarech mekaymai. But since this is muktzah, klisha malachta l'isser, it's klisha malachta l'isser, so it's mutter to move when I need its place. I need to get my shirt. I'm allowed to move it. Omar Rav Chizda, hai kishta, the yarko, these herbs, ichazi l'machal behema. Humans cannot eat it. This is, who's going to eat herb? But it maybe an animal will eat it. Sharit al tule. So you're allowed to move it on Shabbos. V'loi asur. Otherwise it's asur, even though it's food. But it's not edible food. Non-edible food is muktzah. One second. Let me just see what's going on here for a second. Larry, Pearl, Yosef Erman. Yosef, my twin. Moshe Hamburg. Robert Links. Finally, I see his face because after the shir is over, he immediately turns off his screen. Chutzpah! It's beautiful to see your face. Yishkoyach. Omar Rav Chia Barashi Omar Rav. Hai talya the bisro. You take a piece of salted meat. You know, like in Chicago, we do this all the time. Romanian sausage hanging from your cabinet handle. You know what I'm saying? You hang the meat. Gishmaka stuff. What is it called? Sausage. It has a better name. Salami. You want to dry out that salami, but it's edible. It's meat that's salted, says Rashi. Oh, yeah, I got so excited I lost the place. Talia the bisra shori l'taltule. You're allowed to move it on Shabbos because it's edible, the chavre. But if you have salted fish, aser, it's not edible. Omer Rav Ketino, imid ben samito. If you sit on a bed that's owned by a couple, it's like your mizana. You're going to have hirurim and it's asur. I'll tell you, by my chasana in Chicago, I had the privilege of having Reb Don Segal, the famous Reb Don Segal, a big tzaddik and chassid, come to my chasana. I was pretty close to him when I was a bacher, when I learned the tifach, etc. So he came to my chasana. But he insisted that we buy him a brand new mattress. And there's a tzaddik, Reb Tzvi Kamenetsky, he lives now in Toronto, I believe. He went out and bought him a mattress, brought it to the hotel, a whole maisa. He wouldn't sleep on a mattress that somebody else slept on. Maybe because of this Gemara. V'lav milsi, the Gemara says, you don't have to worry about this. Says the Gemara. Now, we're going into the Gemara of Rav Chizda. Now, if you recall, we had on Daf Pei Beis, that Rav Huna tells his son, Rabba, I want you to go learn by Rav Chisda, and Rabba says, are you kidding me? Rav Chisda, all he does is he gives us advice. He doesn't teach us Torah. What's going on? Rav Huna says, what kind of advice does he give? He says, he tells us how to go to the bathroom, don't push hard. He says, Adarabba, beautiful. He's teaching you how to live. You should go to him. And Rav Chisda over here, short to his reputation, he gives us many eitzos on different levels, all the way from how to buy vegetables to ishus. Some are in a mashal, they're all in Mishalem. I'm going to say some in mashal. So he says like this, Rav Chisda bar Beirav. So he's talking to his Talmidim, bar Beirav, a Talmud, the Zovin Yarko, who's buying vegetables, Lizaben Ariko. He should always buy the long ones. Kisha, kikisha. When they sold vegetables, like imagine in nowadays we have a rubber band. They're all the same size. So all your vegetables are going to have the same circumference when you're in the shop. But the difference is, he says, look at the length. If you want to get the most out of your money, the biggest bang for your buck, go for the long ones, because the circumference is going to be the same. So I ask you, what? The Talmidim they need Rav Chisda to tell them this, how to buy vegetables, long, short. So, like everything else, I'm just going to say one for the whole sugya. The Chassam Sofer he goes through every single one, but on this one he says, for instance, the Gemara is telling us that if you're a Talmud Chacham and you became chashiv and you got the kavod, you have to knock yourself down. Get rid of that gaiva. Even if HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives it to you and you deserve it, accept it, but also remember to be humble. V'urka, he goes through all arichas, but then he says v'urka memela, and you'll get arichas yamim for that. V'amar Rav Chisda, bar Rav the Zovin Kanya, and when you buy reeds, zaben ariko, you should buy the long ones. Tuna, kituna. It's always the same width, v'urka memela, and then you'll get the long ones for free. V'amar Rav Chisda, bar Rav the learning official rifta. If you don't have enough bread, don't eat vegetables, because vegetables increase your appetite. You don't have what to wash it down with. When I was poor, I didn't eat vegetables. When I go to the smorgasbord by a wedding, you never go for that vegetable stuff. You just stuff your face with meat. Because I didn't have what to eat afterwards. Why waste your stomach on vegetables when you can stuff it with meat and fish and sushi? If you don't have enough bread, don't be the one making hamoitzi, giving out bread to everybody. Why? You won't have it. You won't be able to do it. Someone the first one. I wouldn't break bread until I felt the entire basket and saw that we have enough. You have enough to give everyone. This is very interesting. Depends how you learn this sugya. If you have enough money to buy barley bread, spelt, whatever that other thing is, and you buy the expensive stuff, the nice wheat, this is very relevant to today. A lot of people, they spend beyond their means. Whether it's a beautiful car to show off and a nice house, it's beyond their means. If you do that, you're wasting. It's baltashkas. If you drink beer if you could drink beer and instead you drink expensive wine, oiver mishum baltashkas. So Mechavrusa was very excited that I should remember to say this over, so I got to say this over. He reminded me 3 times. The Marsha says over here, the famous Rav Papa, and I mentioned it yesterday, would sell beer. Says the Marsha was the Rav Papa was biased. He wanted people to buy beer, so he says, "Don't drink wine because you're even baltashkas." Says the Rashash, "Rebbeinu Shalom." How could the Marsha talk like that? Oh, and then he says, listen to this. We had the sugya. Rabbi Yossi said that if you are accused of something and it didn't happen to you, you're going, whatever, you get the big schar. So then we said pshat is either the story when he went up a ladder and somebody accused him and he almost fell and died and somebody accused him of not giving tzedakah, or when he sat down on a bed and there's a dead baby underneath. So he says, now I understand, there's an upshat. People were saying what the Marsha said, that they accused him of being biased, and he wasn't biased. He's telling you the honest truth. Beer is no, if you could afford beer, drink beer, otherwise you're even Bal Tashches. Beautiful. Milsi, I love this line. So does Mendy. Bal Tashches the Gufa Adif. You got to worry about your body before you worry about your wallet. Beer is not healthy for you. Wine is healthy. Says the Gemara, if you're washing your hands from my machroinim and they used to use oil to wash it down, but you don't have oil, you should use water from a disgusting pit that if he can't afford this, he's a Talmud Chacham, he can't afford meat, by the neck. This way, plus amina bisra, it has fat, it has the lean stuff, and it has sinews, it has all three. You'll taste, because Baruch Hu put in the neck enough for you to taste it all. If you buy a shirt, I'm giving you good advice. Don't buy a bunch of shirts and all the time. Buy one really good one, quality. Buy the most expensive one. And wash it every 30 days. Wow. Can you imagine sweating in it for 30 days in Bavel? Oh, whatever. No air conditioning. So every 30 days, be very makbid. Wash it at least once every 30 days. I promise you, it will last you for 12 months. Money back, guarantee. Come back to me if it doesn't work. Why is it called kituna? Kita na. I'll put you in the upper class. Don't sit down on a hemp thing because it will ruin your clothing. The mechalya money. Don't they? The guys, the yeshiva bachram used to sleep by different families. Don't let her do your laundry because the lav oirach aro. It's not nice. Maybe she'll see a kerry, she'll be grossed out from it, and the relationship will change. So Rav Chizda, his famous father-in-law, his son-in-law, Rava, and Rami Bar Chama, he had G'dolei Adar son-in-laws, and he's telling his daughters marital advice. A lot of chas and shmuzim come from this. How to act with your husband. To have it tznion ba'api gavraychu, you should be very tznuah. You should act feminine in front of your husband. Lo teichu nahama ba'api gavraychu. Don't fress in front of him. Bread, whatever it is, he'll be grossed out. Lo teichu yarka b'leila. Don't eat vegetables at night. Bad breath. Lo teichu tamri b'leila. Lo tishu shichru b'leila. Causes diarrhea. Not good for the stomach. Don't relieve yourself. Don't go to the bathroom in front of him. Or that later on he'll see it. Will be grossed out. And when somebody knocks on the door, don't say who he is, elomani, who she is. In other words, in Aramaic it makes sense. In English it doesn't sound very good. But the point is, don't be speaking to a man when you should be speaking. If your husband hears it, he'll say, what's going on here? What, you're expecting a man to come? Says the Gemara. Now imagine this. This is the Golador, Rebbe Yashiv, talking to Rebbe Kanievsky right before she marries Reb Chaim. And he gives her advice. He's talking about Mekayim Samachusim. And he says, Noked Marginosa B'chadi Yodei, and one equals in a mushal to a pearl, Vikura B'chadi Yodei, and the other is the oven. And he says, you have to play hard to get. Practical advice. So, if you allow him access to the pearl, don't allow him access to the other place. Marganiso achvilu, v'kur lo yachvilu, and don't allow him the other. Adim itztaron, until he works up taiva, v'hodar achvilu, and then it's okay. Ein sholim sar karshinin, masnisin loy kaitano. It says you shouldn't soak the karshinim, these beans. The Mishnah is not like this Tana, the Tanya Rebbe Lazar ben Yaakov Oimer, ein mashgichim b'kvara kol ikar. Even though Rebbe Lazar ben Yaakov is Kavinoki, we always pass Rebbe Lazar ben Yaakov. Over here, ein mashgichim b'kvara kol ikar. You don't have to worry about it. The halach is not like him. Says the Mishnah. Gorfim milifnei apatam. When I read this Mishnah, I thought the Mishnah is talking about myself. I went outside yesterday, the first time after Bidud. I run outside. First person I bump into, a guy from basketball, says, Eli, oh my gosh, you need to go on a diet. This Bidud. So it says like this. You should not. You're allowed to move the hay, the straw that the animal eats, milifnei apatam, before this animal that you're trying to, how do you say it in English? Stuff. You're stuffing an animal. You fill him with all this food. So you're allowed to move. In other words, we're talking about muktzah on Shabbos. What you're allowed to move, you're not allowed to work too hard on Shabbos. But if it's for the benefit of the animal, he's not going to eat stuff that's disgusting, so you put it to the side. There's the waste on the side, so you want to separate the two. The Chacham say it's aser. It's also not considered excessive work to take food from one animal, give it to the other. I mean, you're just helping them out over here. Ibailu. Rabbanon, Aresha Pligi, when Rabbanon say it's aser, are they talking about the first case of sweeping the... here, we have a picture actually. Here's a guy sweeping the food to the side. Now, what is he doing? The issue and the concern is Ashwui Gumos. He's straightening out the floor, and Taisus points out that he wants to fill in the gaps because he doesn't want the small pieces of food to go into the holes. So he likes the fact that it's nice and smooth. Is that what they're arguing, saying that it's aser? Or he's talking about that the food is already muktzah, it's disgusting, it touched the animal, the spit, and therefore they say it's aser. Or on both. You shouldn't be touching the food at all on Shabbos. The big machlokes is on a trough that has no bottom. You see, this guy right over here looks like a... 1 minute, okay. It looks like a coffin. Basically has a bottom. But this one is using the ground, the natural ground, as the bottom. So says the Gemara, machlokes beiva shekarka. You're allowed to clean it out. You're not touching the ground. But if it's the ground, who says you could sweep the ground? He's smoothing it out. That's baina. In fact, the machlokes is only in the coffin-looking one. But if the ground is karka, because you are being mashve gumois. Let's stop here. Rabbi Yisrael, have a wonderful Shabbos. Motzi Shabbos, 9:30. Yishkoyach. And if you know of somebody that wants to join the shir, please have them join. If you know somebody that wants to host a place for the siyum, let us know. A guten Shabbos.
Shem Alois Memakim Krosif Adonai.
Shem Alois Memakim Krosif Adonai.
Ima v'nos tishmoya Adonai miyamo. Yimchas l'chol iman tivorei. V'yitzad naki v'son nafshi v'libro hochalti. Nafshi Adonai mishamrim laboiker, shamrim laboiker.
Shil Adonai. Shamrim laboiker, shamrim laboiker.
Adonai kivanai chesed v'abay mokdu.
Achai Yisrael Adonai kivanai chesed v'abay mokdu. ויהודה יששכר מקלה בן יסף וכן לגבי יששכר נצאים מסמשים עוד במהם ושנבוקים אחריהם יצאים נצחור לבחר ופדר שוק דמשתור בזמן קורי ונאמר אמן שכוייך שכוח נועם. How you doing? Tired? Everybody can unmute. Ezra, what time is it now? You can't unmute? I see people are starting to unmute. Baruch Hashem.
I want to tell you, Yochanan Kevarachel is my cousin.
He's your Talmud?
He's my cousin.
Your cousin? Oh, what's his last name?
Lambianchi.
So how come he didn't put his last name?
I don't know. He lives in Beitar.
Very nice.
He's a chef.
He's a chef.
How do you know? You know?
I know.
Infamous. He's infamous. A lot of people know it. But you're a fantastic chef. I remember going.
Hey, Michael, what time is it in Miami? It's the middle of the night over there. What are you doing up?
It is. Yeah, 1:30.
1:30 in the morning. Beautiful. Unbelievable. I got to tell you about Avi Mandelbaum, how he gets up every day to listen to the shir after he's up till 3 in the morning. I'm going to read his email one of these days when I get around to it. But it's true.
Eli, what is the SAM plan?
What's the siyum plan?
Yeah.
In terms of what? Food, location, what?
Yeah. What are you going to order remote people, remote SAMs? How are you linking it together? What's the plan?
Well, each place is getting together. Some of them, like, there's already 5 WhatsApp groups for 5 different, the main places, like Baltimore, New York, Lakewood, Muncie, that kind of thing. So they have their own thing. They're going to get together in one location. They are all going to decide on by themselves about menu and things like that. The New Yorkers already have a menu. They have a party planner. The Shmelki, I got to tell you this. I'm not joking. I should have told the whole share. Shmelki made a sink in his backyard. They have a photographer. They know what they're doing. They're gonna put us in our place. We think we have these fancy siyum. I knew these New Yorkers. They live on a different level. It's a whole different stuff. But you got to be careful. Rabbi Yosef, what did Rabbi Yosef say? He's worried that he's not gonna have Gan Eden. Too much, but it's all for the siyum. It's mutter.